Welcome to So You Really Want to Learn Latin, and today we are going to be looking at imperatives. Now, we are in Book 2 of the course, Chapter 3, and we're on page 24 if you're following it closely. Now, the imperative is the form of a verb with which we give a command. So when you say sit down or stand up or go away, you are using the imperative. Now, an imperative in Latin has two forms. It has the singular form if you're speaking to one person, and the plural form if you're talking to more than one. The singular imperative form is incredibly easy to form. It is essentially the present stem of the verb. So, for example, for ammo, the singular imperative is simply amar. In other words, the present stem. For moneo, it's monnaie. For audio, it's audi. Okay, so far so good. All of those are just the present stem of those verbs. Now, rego, as you know, is a bit of a pig. It's always going to do something slightly different. And for rego, what we do is we get the present stem, reg, and then we add an e. So we get regge. And capio copies rego. So capio, present tense is cap, but we're going to add an e and get cape. Okay, so our singular imperatives for the main conjugations are very, very simple. Amar, monnaie, regge, audi, and cape. And then to make those forms plural, essentially you just add te. You'll see in a moment that doesn't quite work because rego again is going to be a pig. But amo, we've got amar in the singular and amate in the plural. For moneo, we've got monnaie in the singular and monete in the plural. For audio, we've got audi in the singular and audite in the plural. So, I mean, you know, how easy can this be? Rego, well, the singular imperative is regge, but the plural is reggite. Okay, so you add te, but you add it to an I, and it's a short I. So the imperatives of rego, regge, and reggite. Okay, and capio behaves like rego, so singular is cape, and plural capite. Okay, so how do they work? Well, let's say we want to say something like sail into the harbour, sailors. Okay, so you're talking to the sailors, nautai, that's the vocative, oh sailors, nautai. And then you want to say sail into the harbour. Latin for to sail, navigo, I sail. And we want to make that the plural imperative. So we go to the stem, navigar, and it's plural, add te, navigate. So navigate in portum nautai, or nautai in portum navigate. You can play around with the word order there, it doesn't really make a huge amount of difference. But the basic idea is you are using the imperative and you're either making it singular or you're making it plural. If you do another one, if you were saying something like you're talking to one boy and you say sit on the step, boy. Well, the Latin for sit, sedeo, goes like moneo. Singular imperative is therefore sede. And on the step, well, we're going to use our nice fourth declension noun gradus that we learnt last time. So, and we want to say on the step, that's in plus the ablative. So, in gradu sede, puer, or puer. In gradu sede. Okay, really, really easy actually once you've got the hang of these things. They're fantastically easy to spot when you're translating from Latin because, of course, you would only ever use an imperative if you're talking to someone. So you are in direct speech. There are inverted commas, there are vocatives floating about. Okay, so they're kind of easy enough to deal with. So the only thing so far that is going to cause any sort of trouble is that rego and capio behave slightly out of alignment, but then we're used to that. Cape, capite, rege, regite, those imperative forms, you just have to be a little bit careful with them. All the others really easy. Having said all the others, now there are some very famous irregular imperatives, which I'll talk about in a moment. And of course the verb to be. Well, the verb to be itself is an irregular verb. So if you want to say something like be good or be safe or whatever, we're going to need the imperative forms of some, either singular or plural. And you just have to learn them. Okay? So the singular form is S, that's ES. And that, of course, you've got to be a little bit careful because it could just be the second person singular of the present tense, sum es est. So S means be, and in the plural, este. Okay, este, nice and recognizable. You wouldn't confuse that with anything else. The singular form S, you might well. Okay, so S and este are the imperatives of sum. And then there are three famously irregular imperatives that we're going to deal with, and they are from the verbs facio, dico, and duco. So facio gives a singular imperative. You'd expect it to go face with an E, but the E for some reason isn't there. So it's just this word. Now I've got to be careful how I pronounce this word actually, but I'll spell it, it might be easier, F-A-C. If we sort of traditionally pronounce that, fac, we're okay. If you give that A the sort of vowel sound that really the Romans would have given it, you end up with a slightly rude word, so I won't say it. But in the singular, there's that word, and then in the plural, facite, which is, that means do it or make it. So that's facio. Duco, again, you'd expect duce in the singular imperative, but it isn't, it's just duc. And then it goes ducite. And for dico, same idea, you don't get that E in the imperative singular form, so it's just dic and dicite. Okay, so those three irregular imperatives from duco, dico, and facio, just learn them. And the verb to be, S and este, again, you just have to learn those. Okay, but dealing with imperatives, again, I mean, the great thing about Latin is once you've got the hang of it and you start the journey and you've got the main elements under your belt, these extra little things, one by one, I can drop them in and it just increases your range of expression without really getting too much harder. There's a little bit more to learn and you have to keep on top of all of this stuff. But, imperatives, you can now do imperatives. So, how cool is that? Okay. Right. I hope that is okay. We'll see you next time. Chapter 3 is full of good stuff. So next time we're going to be learning how to decline numerals. And then we're going to move on and look at expressions of time. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Okay, so keep up the good work on this stuff. We will see you back on this channel next time for more, for those who really want to learn Latin.